So friends, is the Big Apple back in the picture when it comes to prosecuting Donald Trump for his crimes? Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, could it be that somebody has prodded New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg into wakefulness and told him that his former career prosecutors were right? You remember, the ones who resigned because they told District Attorney Bragg they had enough evidence to indict and convict Donald Trump, and DA Bragg refused to let them, so they resigned. Maybe Alvin Bragg is now realizing they were right, because there's some new reporting about some efforts that are underway in New York to hold Donald Trump accountable for his crimes. I know, friends, I know. You're already saying, Glenn, we've heard this all before. We've heard that New York is going to hold Donald Trump accountable for his many crimes. I know. But bear with me while I read this new reporting from the New York Times, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Here's the headline. Trump's former lawyer meets with prosecutors about hush money. And that article begins, the Manhattan prosecutors meeting with Michael Cohen could presage a flurry of activity as the district attorney's investigation into the former president is revitalized. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office on Tuesday took a significant step forward in its investigation of Donald J. Trump, meeting with his former personal lawyer about hush money paid to a porn star who said she had an affair with Mr. Trump, according to people with knowledge of the matter. The questioning of the lawyer, Michael Cohen, offered the clearest sign yet that the district attorney's office was ramping up its investigation into Mr. Trump's role in the $130,000 hush money deal. Mr. Cohen has said publicly that Mr. Trump directed him, in the final days of the 2016 presidential campaign, to buy the silence of Stephanie Clifford, the actress known as Stormy Daniels. While the hush money was an impetus for the district attorney's investigation, which began in 2018, prosecutors had shifted in recent years to a broader examination of Mr. Trump's business practices. In recent months, however, the prosecutors returned to the payments, seeking to breathe new life into the investigation, the New York Times reported in November. There is no indication that prosecutors are close to making a decision about whether to seek charges against the former president, but the interview of Mr. Cohen could portend a flurry of investigative steps. Keith Davidson, the lawyer who represented Miss Clifford, that's Stormy Daniels, and helped arrange the deal, was also contacted by the Manhattan prosecutors in recent weeks, but has not been interviewed, a person with knowledge of the matter said. And Mr. Cohen is expected to return for additional meetings in the coming weeks. In a brief interview after the meeting, Mr. Cohen credited the district attorney, Alvin L. Bragg, with assembling a group of prosecutors who had a depth of knowledge of the case. He added, "I don't believe they would have called me in at this stage if this was merely for show." And friends, I tend to agree with that last observation by Michael Cohen. The New York prosecutors wouldn't be calling him in repeatedly, asking him about the payoff to Stormy Daniels if it was just all for show, if they weren't at least contemplating moving forward on criminal charges against Donald Trump. And remember, Michael Cohen has the receipts. Donald Trump was signing reimbursement checks to Michael Cohen for that criminal payoff of Stormy Daniels. He was signing those checks out of the Oval Office. while he was president. Now, friends, as I say, we feel like we've heard all this before. We feel like, we take 2 steps toward indictments of Donald Trump only to take, 32 steps back. But 3 quick observations. First of all, just because it hasn't happened yet, an indictment of Donald Trump does not mean it won't happen. Second, once it happens, whether it happens first in Georgia or whether it happens first federally from the Department of Justice, or on the off chance it happens first in New York, once it happens, and it will happen, the floodgates will open, the dam will break. Once that first brave, strong, determined prosecutor indicts Donald Trump, then every other prosecutor in every jurisdiction where Donald Trump has committed crimes, I believe, will do the same, because they're not going to want to be perceived as weak. They're not going to want crimes left unprosecuted that were committed by Donald Trump when other prosecutors in other jurisdictions have taken the brave, bold, necessary step to indict Donald Trump. The floodgates will open. And the third and final observation, friends, is even though I believe indictments will come, I'm not holding my breath. People all the time on social media and elsewhere, when I talk about how justice must come for Donald Trump and his criminal associates, when I say that, people are forever saying, Glenn, don't hold your breath. And I typically respond by saying, I never do. You can't fight for justice while you're holding your breath. And justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.